Welcome to Smart Remarks, where it ain't a party until Glenn Beck cries. So conservatives teabagged across America yesterday, rallying in cities across the nation to express their outrage. You know, the event had been promoted by Fox News and right-wing talk radio for weeks, and this was going to be the right's D-Day. And indeed, the Associated Press reported that across the country, tens of thousands of people rallied. Tens of thousands of people? That's it? You know, your biggest rallies were in places like Cincinnati, where they got 4,000 people. New York City, biggest city in the country, got about 2,000. Pittsburgh had 1,000. Philadelphia had about 500. Boston had, quote, a few hundred. And Fox News and conservatives are going to tell us this was an unqualified success! But let's put it in perspective, shall we? A 2004 pro-choice rally in April in Washington, D.C. drew 500,000 people to that one city alone. And that was an event that, unlike the Tea Parties, was not promoted 73 times in 8 days as the Tea Parties were promoted on Fox.
Fair and balanced network coverage.
February 2003, anti-war protests across the country draw 100,000 people to New York, 150,000 people to San Francisco, 50,000 people to L.A. The teabags didn't get anywhere near that in any American city yesterday. And indeed, Obama himself drew 100,000 people to a campaign stop in St. Louis last October. Did the teabag parties get that in total yesterday? You know, Fox News and the teabaggers have a vested interest in making these seem to be a bigger deal than they actually were. But even some, like Mark Ambinder at TheAtlantic.com, seem to take the bait. Ambinder, on his blog, wrote that if the protests attracted more than 100,000 people nationwide, I'm not sure that they did, quote, the onus to dismiss them as a nascent political force shifts to the Democrats. The problem is, there's nothing nascent about this political force at all. Your rallies drew two types of people. One were the Ron Paul libertarian types who, to their credit, have long been opposed to larger government and government spending and said so when George W. Bush and Republicans were running the show. Give them credit for consistency, at least. But the other types were your right-wingers who, frankly, they're not new, they're not nascent, they're old, they've been around for a long time. They cut their teeth during the Reagan 80s. They began to be outraged during the Clinton 90s. They voted for George W. Bush twice. They've got Ann Coulter books on their bookshelves. They've got Rush is Right bumper stickers on their cars. And now they love it when Glenn Beck cries.
I'm sorry.
There's nothing new about them at all. They are an old political force. So yesterday's rallies, even if they were impressive, which they really weren't, don't represent the beginning of anything. They represent the end of something. And good riddance to it.
Lawsuit in an effort to stop PennDOT from creating biometric data on our pictures. You need to contact Renee.